It's so easy to take pictures these days. With a tab on your iPhone or a click on your point and shoot, voila, you have a picture. But in the mid-1800s, it wasn't quite that simple. So we're going to take a behind-the-scenes look into one of the earliest photographic processes called wetplate.
1, 2, 3.
Before you can start to snap away, you first need the essentials: a view camera, lens, chemicals, and most importantly, a photographer.
Maybe a little lower?
Tony Sehgal is a modern-day wetplate practitioner. He says the first step is deciding how you want your subjects to pose.
So we can go get the composition set up now.
Perfect, yeah, let's do that. Once the scene is set, it's time to set your focus by looking at the viewfinder on the back of the camera, which Tony says is one of the hardest parts.
Everything you look at through the view camera is upside down and backwards.
Then it's time to prep the aluminum plate.
Piece of aluminum, blackened piece of aluminum.
Making sure there is no dust.
Otherwise they'll show up on the final image as either dark or light spots.
From there, the collodian is poured onto the plate and swished around until the entire plate is covered.
Just let this sit in my hand for maybe 15 or 20 seconds.
The plate is then dipped into a silver nitrate bath and put into a film holder for 3 minutes, all while your subjects are sitting and holding their pose.
Oh yeah.
Once time is up,
It's now light sensitive. The plate is now sensitized, as they say.
the plate, which is inside the film holder, goes straight from the darkroom to the back of the view camera. The subjects hold their pose while the lens cap is taken off the camera for a second and then put back on. The plate is now ready to get developed.
Yeah, let's see what that looks like.
It's challenging to meter your exposure. A lot of the film lens, a lot of the camera lenses you use for collodion don't have shutters, so you're using your lens cap to kind of gauge your exposure.
The exposed wet plate is now taken to the darkroom, slid out of the film holder, and put into a fixer bath where the unexposed silver nitrate is removed. This is where it transforms into a fully developed picture.
Once you're done with your picture, collodion is very fragile. So even after you've developed it, put it in a water bath, you have to be very careful not to rub it or the collodion will come right off. And so a protective layer is added to it, a varnishing layer.
Between managing the chemicals and gauging the correct exposure times, there are a lot of variables and room for error.
Never feel like you'll attain perfection. It's something that you can pursue for decades and never feel like you've mastered it. So it's definitely a real challenge and something that keeps me going.
In 2016, Tony will be displaying 15 to 20 wet plate photos in an exhibit at the Saratoga Library.
I have some ideas in mind, and I'm still exploring, what my theme is going to be. So once I'm working on my technique now, and I'm looking forward to getting going pretty soon on this exhibit.
Each wet plate picture has a story to tell, and even if it didn't come out exactly the way it was intended, it's hard to deny its distinct qualities.
That's one unique thing about wet plate is you don't always want to hide the imperfection. You want to kind of display that because it's a piece of work. It's a piece of handwork almost.
Now all that's left is finding a frame. To learn more about wet plate, go to www.collodian.com. Reporting from Saratoga, Chanel Bujadam, Diya TV.